everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Level Up with yours truly, Mona Roberts, where we talk leadership, wealth, and the decisions we make that shape our lives. So this month is Women's History Month, and we're going to pause to highlight and celebrate some women that have created just that, history. And so today I have a special guest who is a wife, a mom, business owner, a real estate investor, a diet and fitness guru. I mean, the list goes on. Most importantly, she is a history maker. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce Herlene Ford.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, Herlene is a girlfriend, she's a colleague, and she is leadership in action, and you're going to hear why I said that. So to get started, we're going to go ahead and want you to introduce yourself. Who are you?
Thank you. I'm Herlene Ford, and as Mona said, I'm a mother, a wife, a sister, older sister.
A wife of how long?
A wife for about almost over 20 years.
20
Been married
years?
for over
Okay.
20 years. With
Over
two
20
kids,
years.
2 kids, 2 dogs. And
Where are you
childcare. Oh, from Miami. From Miami, I speak English, Spanish, and French. So that's me in a nutshell.
Okay,
I'm
so
49.
49. Okay. So tell me about the English, Spanish, and French.
Okay. My dad is Haitian. My mother is Hispanic, Dominican. So the English, Spanish, and French came from there.
Nice.
So yes.
Yes, and that was beneficial, her speaking Spanish, because this year we went to a self-care retreat in Mexico.
Yes.
And she was our communicator, which was so good. So that Spanish speaking really paid off for us. All right, so I want to hear about your entrepreneur journey.
Oh, where should I start?
Okay, how did you get there? How did you start? I mean, have you always been an entrepreneur, or you were an employee that took a leap to entrepreneurship?
Okay. No, I was not planning into getting into the business aspect of it. Was going to school. I have a bachelor's degree in early education, a bachelor's in psychology, and a master's in counseling.
Nice.
So decided to go into the education part and then work as a teacher for 5 years, pre-K teacher. And then I decided to work for Bright from the Start, which is where I met you as a state licensed consultant for Bright from the Start. I did that for 10 years.
Yes, and Bright from the Start, just so you know, we're both child care center owners, and so Bright from the Start is our licensing agency. And so Herlene was a licensing consultant, which is how we met.
Yes. And then after that, the opportunity came about to where the center came vacant. Live and Learn Academy was doing that time, was on Harrington Road, came vacant, and I went in there to go actually meet somebody that wanted to buy the building. So not part of my business plan, and then actually they didn't show up, and actually end up meeting the bank, the investor.
Mm-hmm. And at the beginning of the introduction, you said you never intended on becoming an entrepreneur, yet you ended up as one. And now it's what, 10 years later?
10 years. It's been 10 years. I have 2 centers. And one of the things, like I said, was a crash course. Becoming a business owner was a crash course. I had to learn about credit, saving, planning. I had to learn how that the sleepless nights was going to come. There were times I didn't know I was going to make it.
Right. And here's the thing about business. We have sleepless nights, but you have sleepless nights as an employee as well. So you can choose if you want to have sleepless nights, as an employee, working on someone else's dream, or working on your own dream. But either way, we're going to have those sleepless nights, yeah?
Correct.
Yes. Okay, so let me ask you, what lessons have you learned as a woman in business?
Ooh.
So many, huh?
It's been a lot of lessons, but one particular lesson that I would say that I've learned is the part of, are you in business what's the purpose when you're in business. And I had to learn that not everybody value us, African American ownership. And so because I didn't look like I owned the child care, I had to learn that there's been plenty of time parents come in and they're waiting for the owner. They're looking for the owner. And because I was sweeping, because I was mopping, because I was holding the baby, I didn't look like I was the owner. And so at first it was irritating. Like, okay, wait a minute. I worked so hard for this. And I realized having this title didn't matter.
Right.
I knew I owned it, so it's okay.
So is that a part of just getting some confidence, some boldness, some, what is that? What did you have to develop in order to face those type of customers who didn't necessarily view you as the owner?
That's a good one, because there's been plenty of time I had to look in the mirror and wipe my face, go in the bathroom, and just like, okay, it's okay when she looked disgusted that I was the owner. And, it was like, okay, I had to learn that it wasn't about me anymore, and knew that was a bigger picture. Right. And you know that I'm a Christian, so I had to start praying and not worry about, it was tough. It was tough being a woman, an African American woman, in the childcare industry, and you don't know who walked in that door.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for me as a childcare center owner, I just had to become comfortable in my skin, right? Because leadership, ownership looks different to some people, right? Yes. But when I know that I'm offering a great service, I'm meeting the needs of our customers and what have you, I just became comfortable in that skin. Yes. Okay, so now, challenges you've overcome. Let me hear them.
Challenges. I don't know if we're going to talk about credit score.
Let's talk finances, because that's what we talk about here on Level Up with Mona. We talk about building wealth, and a big part of building wealth is finances. And so, finances with credit. Let's start there.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things. And once I knew I wanted to buy the building, and I had to prepare a business plan. Again, crash course. I had to learn how to write a business plan. Not only that, I had to also learn how to make sure that everything in my credit was not derogatory. And then I had to look into, because you got to have money to put down.
You got to have capital as well.
So we had to go into our 401k plans and pull that out into saving accounts.
Wow.
We had to do a different adventure to make sure that we didn't borrow money from Johnny, Linda, Sue, nothing. It was just for me and my husband. And we had to go ahead and try to find, work on credit, work on implementing what the saving plan looked like, just so we can purchase that.
Paying off the debt.
Yeah.
And not incurring new debt during this period.
Yes.
Yo, wow. That's a lot, huh?
Yes. So it was challenging. It was challenging.
Yes.
To staying focused, staying the course. It was challenging.
Wow. And so I heard so much. I heard you got to write your vision, which is the business plan. You have to get your credit together.
Yep.
You got to get your capital together.
Yes.
Did you have to put your home up for collateral?
No, thank God.
Okay. All right.
I have to do that. Thank God.
And so those are steps that that is required to become a business owner for the most part. All right. So now, how do you balance it all? How do you balance wife, mom, business owner, real estate investor, fitness guru? Give us some tips on balancing.
Well, one good thing that we learned, and I'm still learning, is that self-care.
Self-care.
So learning how to, so every morning I make sure I get up and being able to take my kid to school or take Noah to school, just so I can get to the gym. He can catch the bus, but I'd rather take him to school, so then I jump him off and I'm up already and I go straight to the gym at 6. So I work out and then I come back in and then I get ready for work.
Yeah.
And then, as we know, childcare is nothing happens the same day every day. It's always something different. So you have to be ready to tackle anything that goes. And it's childcare is any given Sunday every day.
Any given Sunday.
Every
yes.
day.
Yes.
And then so learning that, and then also having that social life. having girlfriend time. Having your self time is good, but that social life, having girlfriends that we can sit and have lunch with, brunch, dinner, and just pour onto each other and talk about the daily aspect of our lives that's going on.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Because I don't know if you would ever get to balance it all, but with my girlfriends, we once discussed, I don't know if you're familiar with the wheel of life.
Yes.
And your life has different categories. And the wheel of life is discussed thoroughly in the John Maxwell environment. And so there's an area for family, there's an area for business or work, there's an area for recreation, there's an area for spiritual or church, if you will. And so your life is broken down into different areas, right? There's an area for money and finance. There's an area for fun, right?
Yes.
And so you try and get a little something from all of these areas so that you can manage. But one thing I can say about exercising is that has increased my quality of life, me working out in the mornings. Because what I do, I start my day in prayer and I take care of me first. So before I take on the world, because we're women and it's Women's History Month and, we always have to take care of everybody else, I start my day after prayer, I take care of myself so that I'm equipped to, walk into my business in a healthy manner, right?
Yes.
Right, because we're leading others and what have you. Okay, so now, what advice would you give the next generation of women leaders?
So now that we talked about it, two things. Credit.
Credit.
I would talk about credit. It's really important.
It is important.
Think about how much you're charging and how you pay. How you pay your bills. How many times your lights get cut off. How many times, and not because you don't have the money, because we're not good at it. So learning how to be financial wisdom, to have financial wisdom or growth, or not even the money, but having to, what's the word I'm looking for? To make
Financial literacy.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah.
Gaining financial literacy as early as possible.
As early as
I
possible.
wish someone had told me that.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the other thing would be if you're a younger woman and you see somebody that's out there that's going to get it, that's striving, that's working so hard, and you see them and you admire that, you envy that, tap into her. Make plans, latch onto her, like in the Bible, Ruth.
Right.
Tap into her, learn her wisdom.
Yes.
So let's, find out from her, like let her take you to lunch or you take her out to lunch, whether it could be walking in the park, just so she can pour into you, so you can learn what she knows. Yeah. That's how you grow, by sharing.
I believe that. And one of the things about women is, in the past, I'm going to say, women didn't support women as much. It was a lot of envy and competition. But, there's a saying that real women don't compete, they collaborate. And so just like Herlene and we're both child care center owners, both our centers are in Snellville, we don't compete, we collaborate. Because we endure some of the same ups and downs. And so to have women supporting women that can share in the journey, it really makes the journey lighter. Right? Yes, ma'am. Yes. So let me ask you, Miss Wife, Mom, business owner, real estate investor, what's next for you?
My next was last year when my son decided he was going to ninth grade, I had to come up with a plan to figure out, an exit plan or a next plan. I don't know what you want to call it, but I went ahead last year. I purchased 5 homes within that year.
Wait, slow down. You purchased 5
homes. I wanted to invest in that. I wanted to have 5-year goals, so I said, let's do 5. So I purchased 5 homes. So now I can look at the equity it makes within 5 years. So by the time my son graduates and my daughter graduates, so that's my 5-year plan. And then I can also look into look at my childcare business, see what that looked like in 5 years.
Okay.
And so therefore I can go ahead and if they don't get the scholarship for football or cheerleading, we can go ahead and take one of them homes as a college payment.
Wow.
So they're not going into school in debt.
So that's big vision, big dream. So if you don't mind, I want to step back.
Okay.
What position were you in to purchase 5 real estate homes? Well, investment properties, if you want to call it. Okay.
Okay, let's talk about it. Everybody knew, remember the time where we had the PPP and everybody, all this money was going, child care service was booming. Well, yours truly didn't just went out there and splurge. I put the money aside. And after I sat there for 3 years, I said, why not invest this money?
Okay.
Why have $1 million just sitting there? Then the bank is making, it's making interest of it. I take the interest out every year. But why just sit there and keep that much money in the bank? Let's start investing into properties. So 1 or 2 bought out straight out. Couple, I financed it.
Okay. And what type of tenant are in those properties, just to give us some knowledge in case someone out there is interested in becoming a real estate investor and buying 5 homes in 1 year?
Well, I think I would say purpose. So I did it for purpose. First, I did it because I wanted to invest for my son's future, to make sure that we're stable. And the second one was I saw a need in my community. I saw my staffing. I saw the housing market pulling away from the renters, and a lot of my staffing or other women I'm hearing didn't have a place to go to because the other investors put rent so high they couldn't afford it. So if I was able to help out with five different families, and I think I did just that, to help out with these families so they can be in a stable home. And it wasn't taught, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get rich off this. It was more of the purpose was, okay, I can't keep watching this mother with 4 kids living in extended stay, paying $500 a week. But because her credit is not good, because her renter history is not good, but I know she's working a 9 to 5 and I know where she work at. It's like, okay, hey, if I buy this home, are you able to sustain the rent? This is the amount. And we signed the deal. We signed a whole lease, and just like an apartment complex. And then also I tap into helping to rebuild their credit.
Oh, amen. So you saw a need.
I saw a need.
Okay. So you're walking in purpose then.
Yes.
Amen.
That's a good one.
Yes. Okay. And so in closing, is there any advice you would give, since you're a business owner? Is there any advice that you would give to someone that desires to start a business or desire to enter into real estate investing? Any advice?
First thing, and I know a lot of people don't talk about it as much anymore, your credit score matters.
It matters.
Mona,
especially for us.
Oh my God. Yes, it matters. Getting your credit together early on and not blowing every time you get paid to go ahead and buy the latest everything. Not blowing it into that. Finding ways to put away. Even if you're working 2 jobs and you still don't have a saving, look at how much you're spending. So just looking at that. So my advice would be credit score, a saving plan, even some credit cards that have real good interest of, money back, different avenues of it, to just not just have a credit card that have no purpose in it. So yes, so I would say the best advice would be credit, putting money aside, having some type of finance. And this is what I hear a lot of people go into business thinking that there's going to be a grant out there.
The grant comes after you're established.
Yes, after.
After, not before. No. Yeah, because we've tried, we've looked. I know I have, right? And so yes. And this conversation is actually what Level Up with Mona Roberts podcast is about. It's about having the conversation to build wealth, right? Walk in leadership, walk in growth, and make the best decision that shapes our lives. And that's what Herlene talked about today. And I'm so grateful that you stopped by to share your life with us.
Thank you for having me.
This was awesome.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm falling in love again, and I get that crazy feeling.